All right, we'll get started. This is very, very exciting. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm Dr. Wan, and this is very, very exciting that so many people are interested in making changes in their life. And so, welcome. You're at Star Medical Center, and you're here to hear me talk about the introduction to whole food plant-based diet. We host the seminar once a month, every month. Each time we talk about some different topics. Last month it was about cardiovascular disease. Month before that was about how to prevent and reverse cancer. Month before that, diabetes. So today I'm just going to briefly go over introductory topics of what the whole food plant-based diet is, and also our second half is going to be some of the attendees, and then the people who live locally who's gone through the transformation and have beaten the heart disease, beaten the autoimmune disease like rheumatoid arthritis, beaten the diabetes, and many other disease. And like to give the floor to them so that they can share with you their experiences, their hardship, their challenges, and their successes. So again, very excited that you guys are all here. And if you think this is value to you, please come back, because each time we're going to talk about different topics. And also let your family and friends, people who you love, let them know about this, because I truly believe that we can reverse and prevent a lot of the disease so that you can live a much, much happier and healthier life. Okay? And so I truly believe the health is a choice. You choose to be healthy. Okay? Some people think it's harsh when I talk about heart attack is a choice, but once you understand and learn the way of the whole food plant-based lifestyle, you'll realize heart attack is a choice. You choose to have a heart attack. Same thing with cancer. And people say, well, how about genetics? That takes less than 5% of all cancer. Okay? And you can prevent it, and you can help reverse it. You can enhance the traditional treatments also. It's all up to you. You're the only person that has a complete control over your health. The problem is most people don't know. We've been brainwashed, and we just have no idea. That's why we're here to teach you. Okay? We're not here to sell you anything, because the only thing you have to buy is go to the produce section in the grocery store instead of the pharmacy, and you can heal on your own. Okay? I'm here to just spread the knowledge, because I've gone through the journey myself, and then once I realized how I've been brainwashed, I thought I was smart. I was a doctor, I was a surgeon, and did well in school, and I thought I understood nutrition. I thought I lived a very healthy lifestyle. I realized I didn't. And so we'll talk about that journey as well. And then also, I stay here until last person leaves, so feel free to ask questions. And then if you don't feel comfortable asking questions during the talk and Q&A session, you stay behind, and I'm here to answer any of your questions. Okay? So just brief introductory, we're at Lumen Health. We're a physician-driven, vertically integrated health system, very small, nothing like Baylor, but we actually do care about our patients. Okay? So we have, from the family practice to urgent care, which is called Lumen Care, and I'm a orthopedic spine surgeon, and I'm part of the minimally invasive spine care. We also have orthopedic surgeons, pain management, and other specialties. You're at the Star Medical Center, which is the surgical hospital, okay? And if you're gonna ever have a surgery, this is type of setting that where you wanna be. We haven't had a single case of infection over the past 4 years we've been open here, okay? And everyone, no matter who you are, is a VIP service. That's the type of health system that we wanna develop. Okay. Also, if you guys are interested, we do have a Facebook group, and anyone who's interested in the topic is invited and welcome. You don't have to live the lifestyle. If you are curious, with a good intention, please join. Look for it. It's a Lumen Health plant-based diet and lifestyle. Just share recipes, ask questions about medical conditions. Only rule is be positive and be compassionate. and any negativity will be, messages will be deleted and you'll be booted off, okay? So we started this, I think, December, and so far we have close to about 400 members. So we encourage all you guys to check it out. Okay? And also just making a few announcements. I don't know if you guys know Earthling Ed. He'll be in town in June 20th, giving a talk at the Collin College, and I will be kind of opening for him. They asked me to talk about the health benefit of plant-based vegan diet and lifestyle. And there's a movie called Earthling also. You may want to check it out on Netflix. And it's truly an honor to have him in town. So mark your calendar, June 20th, 7 p.m. Okay? And also, some of you guys who are interested, I'm a surgeon, but my passion is to treat patients without surgery. So we also are having a stem cell therapy education. It's on April 25th. This will be in our Arlington campus. So again, I'm Dr. Wan. I'm a minimally invasive spine surgeon, but also I practice longevity and regenerative medicine. And nutrition is also one of my passions, because in order to live long, but also live younger, nutrition is one of the most important things that you have to consider. So just to give you a little background, I immigrated to this country back in 1982 from South Korea, not North Korea, South Korea. Okay? I was from North Korea. And then, but I did go to Northwestern University after graduating from MacArthur High School. Go Cards from Irving. And then after that, went to UTMB for medical school. And then went to St. Louis, Washington University to study orthopedic surgery. And then I went to Michigan, the largest medical center there in Royal Oak, Michigan, William Bowman Hospital, and their spine center. Did my fellowship there. Then went back to St. Louis and did a little bit more training before coming back to Irving, Texas. I never thought I would come back to Texas, but I did, and best decision I ever made. So this is what I learned to do. This just massive incision, massive spine reconstruction type of surgery. But if you look at all the pictures from before, all the medical centers, it's just massive. They're treating patients with chronic disease that doesn't need to be in the hospital. Hospitals are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Look at the number of the hospitals that exist in North Texas. Baylor is only getting bigger, THR is only getting bigger instead of getting smaller, because they're not treating the cause of the disease. They're only treating the effect. Okay? Like I said, they don't care about you. Okay? So I knew that something had to be different. Okay? Also, I went into spine surgery because my father had 4 back surgery, and he had massive complication, infection. He had a horrible care, and we were poor, didn't have insurance, and his pain medication was alcohol. And I watched him, for 30 years just suffering. So I knew that this type of spine surgery wasn't the path. So, I developed a lot of the minimally invasive procedures, and then the devices, and then the laser spine surgery, so that I could do the least amount of surgery to a patient to gain the relief. But that wasn't enough either. So then I went on to working on stem cell therapy and regenerative medicine. And now one of my passion is to help patients prevent surgery, and then also prevent being admitted to the hospital, dying from disease that you don't need to have, okay? Like heart attack, diabetes, okay? Cancer, autoimmune disease, okay? So we're in crisis right now in America, right? Most people don't even think about it. But 70% of Americans are either overweight or obese. 70%. 70%. Okay? And on top of that, nearly 8%, additional 8% is extremely obese. So close to 80% of Americans are overweight, obese, or extremely obese. Okay? So where's that going to lead to? There's a reason why, as the people are getting bigger and bigger, the hospitals are getting bigger and bigger, right? And also, by 2020, that's only a couple years away, 50% of Americans will be either pre-diabetic or diabetic. Okay? That also leads to a lot of other disease. This has got to stop. Okay? So, standard American diet, sad. It's really sad.
right? And so Americans are typically eating 54% of their calories are coming from processed food. Okay? If it comes from a box, most likely it's processed, something that you shouldn't be eating. And I always tell patients that when you go to the grocery store, stay on the outer edge of the grocery store. Don't go inside. It's evil. Okay? And 32% of the calorie comes from animal products. Okay? And then 11% comes from vegetables, fruits, nuts, and beans. But within that 11%, ketchup is also within that 11%. Okay? And then 4% from whole grain. So that's a problem. Right? And nearly 90% of our calories are coming from either processed food or animal products. That's the reason why the hospitals are getting bigger and bigger. Okay? So this is looking at several different countries. The countries that basically eat the least amount of processed food and animal products has the least amount of death between age 55 and 75 from heart disease or cancer. Okay? So the countries that eat the most amount of processed food and animal products have the highest percentage of people dying from heart disease and cancer between age 55 and 75. I mean, look at the graph, right? So, sure, you can take a picture, absolutely. This is free information. You guys can, and if you guys want, I'd be happy to send you guys pictures of the slides also. Want you to have it, share it. Okay, so this is, I think this was my 20th year reunion, 20th or 25th. So from high school. And all my buddies, these guys were, except myself, they all played football. So I was a nerd, I was kind of like the outcast, the guy with the big backpack. But they kind of let me in because, I gave them a lot of answers to, questions, right? So I was still part of the pack, right? But you can see, unfortunately, my dear friends are overweight or obese, and some of them are extremely obese. It's almost the percentage. 80% of them are overweight, obese, or extremely obese. There's only like 1 or 2 of us. Even I was almost overweight at that point. At that point, my BMI was 24.4. Anything above 25 is considered overweight. Okay? So, sad state of our health, right? Because of our standard American diet that's causing obesity, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and many other chronic disease. It doesn't have to be this way. Okay? We spend about $3.2 trillion a year in the US, $3.2 trillion a year every year, and it's only going up, and 75% of it is due to chronic disease that can be prevented. Okay? 75% of that. Okay? And most of the chronic disease are reversible and can be prevented. This is the top 10 causes of death in US. And back in 2016. Heart disease is by far the #1 killer in this country. Okay? And majority of them because heart attack. Right? I'll show you every 40 seconds there's somebody dying from heart attack. Okay? Every 40 seconds. And so it doesn't have to be. And cancer is #2. Chronic respiratory disease. Accident, that just happens. Maybe with the diet, maybe you'd be more alert, have less accident. Strokes, Alzheimer's, diabetes, influenza and pneumonia, and kidney-related disease, and intentional self-harm, suicide. But believe it or not, actually the whole food plant-based diet can help you with depression also. So perhaps we can affect this number as well. So many of these, almost every single one of them can be prevented with proper nutrition. Okay? As I mentioned before, cardiovascular disease is a #1 killer, and the number I showed you was back in 2016 and 2017, there was over 800,000 people who died from cardiovascular disease. 800,000. And 1 death every 40 seconds. So if this talk was about 60 minutes, about an hour, there'll be about 90 people who would have been dead by end of this talk, okay, in this country from cardiovascular disease, okay? And 1 heart attack every 30 seconds, right? And 1 stroke every 40 seconds, and it doesn't have to be, okay? I want to stress that. You don't have to die from a heart attack or cardiovascular disease. Okay? So by the time this seminar is over, 90 people. Well, it's maybe 2 hours, so then be about 180 people. That's tragedy. Right? So this is how I feel. Right? So this is what most doctors are doing. Doctors are keep on mopping the floor, and it's endless because the sink is constantly overflowing. And healthcare system, rather than turning off the faucet, we just keep on mopping the floor. It never ends. Okay? So somebody just needs to get up and then turn off the faucet, right? And that's something that you can do. And everyone, if even you have a cold, you don't need antibiotics. You rush to the doctors and you get medication. And, you want antibiotics, and you don't even realize how antibiotics is damaging your gut bacteria and gut health, eventually leading you to many other disease. Right? Rather than that, we should be using food as medicine. Okay? Over 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates said, use food as medicine. Okay? That was 2,000 years ago. This was me a few years back, almost overweight, technically overweight. I was about 156 pounds. I'm 5'7", so BMI of 24.4, had high triglyceride and high LDL. I thought I was being healthy. Okay? I exercised on a regular basis. I ate what I thought was healthy, low carb, high protein, just like everybody else. Right? I went into that phase of paleo diet, Atkins diet, and the bro science. Right? And this was me. Right? But I finally realized I had to make change because I couldn't fit into a suit. And I said, there's no way I'm going back to a tailor and then, get all my clothes altered. I said, there's no way I'm going to do that. Well, I ended up doing that because I lost significant amount of weight without even trying. Okay? So another reason is this. One of the main reasons I went into this journey is this. I'm a minimally invasive spine surgeon. I'm constantly standing right next to 2 fluoro scans. Here's 1 and here's 2. So it benefits the patient and it's a one-time event for them, but for me, I'm exposed to radiation every single day. I'm protected. I have lead shield, lead skirt, lead vest, lead glasses. However, I'm still exposed to radiation. So I went into the journey of finding how do I prevent and cure cancer? Because every single one of you guys right now sitting here, you guys all have cancer in yourself. Okay? It may not be clinically significant, but every single one of you have cancer. And your body is constantly trying to fight it. Okay? At some point, if you lose, that's when the cancer becomes clinically significant. Okay? So we all, every single one of us, have to fight the cancer. Okay? And that's me standing right between 2 C-arms, intraoperative fluoroscan. Okay? So I went and studied all the different kinds of diets, whether it's plant-based, Mediterranean, South Beach, paleo, ketogenic diet, calorie restriction, zone diet, you name it. I studied them all. But what diet is going to help you lose weight and keep it off, which is not the most important thing, but everyone is concerned about that, and the weight does have a significant impact on your health. What's going to prevent and reverse heart disease? What's going to prevent and reverse the cancer, hypertension, stroke, diabetes? Not only live longer, but also live younger. What's the point of living older, a long, long time and just debilitated, right? What I found was that the best nutrition, best way, best lifestyle was a whole food, plant-based diet and lifestyle, okay? So what is whole food, plant-based, okay? I want to stress that it's not about what you don't eat, it's all about what you do eat, okay? And it's whole, unrefined, okay? And minimally refined, minimally manipulated food, okay? And even plants, you want to eat things that are whole and unrefined, such as if you're going to choose the rice, brown rice, rather than white rice, okay? Fruits, vegetables, the whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, okay? And excluding anything that has comes from something that has face, okay? Meat, chicken, pork, egg, dairy, fish, okay? If it has a mother, you don't want to consume it, okay? And also restrict anything that is refined sugar, refined flour, and oil also. That is a whole food plant-based. So that was me. And then within a very short period of time, I lost about 24 pounds without even trying. And I eat, some of you know that I eat like a horse. I mean, I eat all day long, okay? I love eating, I love food. But I never have to count calories. So, and I think one of my patients mentioned the other day that I have such a good skin too. I think my skin is certainly better at 47 than when I was in my 20s. So again, using food as medicine. Okay? So what looks healthier to you? Can you just look at this picture right here? What's healthy and what's not? Okay? You don't have to be a doctor to know which one is healthy and which one is not. Right? And then whole food plant-based diet and lifestyle has ability to prevent and treat and reverse not just the heart disease, not just diabetes, not just rheumatoid arthritis, and not just Alzheimer's, not just multiple sclerosis, not just lupus, not just acne, migraine, depression, cognitive dysfunction. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay. But one of the every time I tell somebody, hey, I don't eat meat and I do whole food plant-based, the first question is usually, hey, where do you get your protein? Okay? Everyone's so obsessed with protein, and people think protein is like the source of great health, which is not. Okay? So let's just compare beef versus bean. 100 grams of bean versus 100 grams of beef. Okay, this is red bean. Okay, so they have exactly the same amount of protein. 22 grams of protein, red beans versus red meat. Okay? But also, the bean has a lot of fibers. Fiber is one of the key to great health. Okay? Keeping your gut bacteria very, very happy. Okay? Also, people always ask, where do you get your iron? Well, bean actually has more iron than red meat. Also, it has much safer non-heme iron than red meat. Okay? And then same thing with calcium, same thing with magnesium. But there's something that the bean doesn't have. Okay? It's cholesterol. Okay? So it loses as far as the cholesterol is concerned. And it uses significantly less water to produce beans than red meat. Okay? So it also benefits our planet. Okay, how about broccoli? Okay? So broccoli, somebody said they didn't know the vegetables have proteins. Well, 100 calories of broccoli versus 100 calories of steak, well, broccoli wins. Broccoli actually has more protein than red meat. Who would have thought, right? And has significantly, virtually no fat versus the steak, which has 7 grams of fat.
Is that protein? Protein is not just protein, except for like whey protein, different types of proteins. Well, you can say it's scientific. So would that be? I mean, would that be taken up in your body in the same way? And also, see, remember, like meat has B12, like if you're a vegan, they take B12 supplements. Is that?
Well, some meats have B12s. Most of them do. Most of the omnivores.
Can you repeat what he said?
Oh, he was asking, is that same kind of protein? So all protein originates from plants. I'm going to show you the picture of that. Okay. So you're eating red meat. Where did the cow get its protein? Well, you're talking about like amino acid. Is that a complete amino acid? So some plants don't have all essential amino acid. But if you eat 2,000 calories, if you eat enough, eat variety of plants, you don't have to eat it all at the one setting. Okay? And if you eat variety of vegetables, then you're going to get all your complete amino acids. Okay? So this is a list of, I know it's difficult to see, all the vegan proteins. And the pumpkin seed probably has one of the highest amount of protein, and it's actually complete amino acid protein. Pumpkin seeds is one of the best things that you can consume. Okay? And but these are some of the so I just wrote out some of the top 10 plant-based the proteins, pumpkin seeds, peanut butter, hemp seeds, almonds, pistachio nuts, flax seeds, tofu, oats, chia seeds, and cashew nuts have significant amount of proteins. Okay? And as I was saying before, look at these beasts, these massive animals, right? Elephants to gorilla, you know, they're all vegans. They eat just nothing but plants, okay? But they're significantly stronger than us. They're just massive animals, right? A lot of muscles. So most people think vegans look like this, okay? Even I'm not this skinny, okay? So this is what most people think. But this is Derek Morgan from Tennessee Titans, and he's the guy who converted 1/3 of their football team, Tennessee Titans, NFL football team, okay? Not the junior high school football team, but the NFL. 1/3 of the Tennessee Titans are whole food plant-based diet. And he's a linebacker, right? And then Rich Roll, this is what he used to look like in his 30s, and that's what he looks like in his 50s. He is the one of the top endurance athletes in the world. He's done 5 Ironman in 5 days, 5 Ironmans in 5 days straight, and at 5 islands of Hawaii. Okay, I think there's only very few people who's been able to do that, and he did it 100% plant-based. Here's Justin Rand. He's one of our patient. He's a UFC fighter and Bellator MMA fighter, and he's also quite a humanitarian. But recently, after stem cell therapy, he converted to a plant-based lifestyle, and he was traveling to Africa along with Chris Long, who's with the Philadelphia Eagles. He won Super Bowl 2 years in a row, first with the New England and then second year with Philadelphia. They went to Africa to raise money to drill water wells, and they raised about $450,000. Okay, but here's Justin, and he was the only guy who was plant-based, and he was the first one to reach the top. Okay? Everyone said, there's no way you're going to make it to the top not eating meat. He was the first one. Okay. And then and here's Kyrie Irving with the Boston Celtics. Okay, and then he said being on more of a plant-based diet, getting away from animals and all that. This was from the ESPN interview when they first discovered that he was doing something different, and he was performing significantly better than when he was at Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, his energy is up, and then he's feeling amazing. Okay, and then there are other NBA players that are converting also because they can recover so much faster. Okay, less inflammation, and they have a lot more antioxidant in their system. Okay? And how about these guys, right? Yeah. Well, he retired, but another football player, boxer, MMA fighter, and then Nimai Delgado, he's never eaten meat in his life. Okay? His parents were vegetarian, and so he grew up as a vegetarian, then he became 100% vegan and living a lifestyle of a whole food plant-based. I don't think he looks like he's lacking protein, do you? Okay? And then there are others. How about bodybuilding? 2014 Mr. Universe, okay? Vegan, okay? No animal products. And then Frank Madrano, Derek Simnett, these guys do a lot of calisthenics. I mean, they do some amazing stuff. And look at them. List just goes on and on and on. And so, and if you still have questions, okay, there's going to be a movie out April 19th, part of the EarthX event, at 6:30 at the Wiley Theater. You can purchase a ticket at the earthxfilm.org. And this is basically looking at all the top athletes of the world who are plant-based. Okay? James Cameron is the film producer for this. So then people always ask, what do you eat? You eat salad all day long. I don't like salad, okay? I don't like cold food. And I eat it because I have to, but if I have to eat it every single day and 3 times a day, I probably couldn't do it, okay? But whole food plant-based, there's a major 4 groups, okay? You got fruits, vegetables, okay? you got legumes and beans and then whole grains. But what I try to do is every day, I don't necessarily meet this goal every single day, but this is my goal. Okay, my goal is to have 3 servings of fruits every single day, and one of them always being some sort of berries, right? Whether it's blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, raspberries, and then 5 servings of vegetables. Off of that, one has to be cruciferous vegetables. Okay, cruciferous vegetables are like broccoli, cabbage, broccoli sprouts, kale, spinach. Those are all under the cruciferous family, and it's one of the healthiest things that you can eat. And then 2 additional amounts of greens, and then 2 other vegetables. Okay, and then I also have 3 servings of some sort of beans, whether it's beans, legumes, okay, and then 3 servings of whole grains. I don't eat this every single day, but it's my goal. Okay, and then everyone in this room should have at least 1 or 2 tablespoons of flax seeds, because it really helps prevent cancer, such as breast cancer and prostate cancer. Okay, some of the most common ones for women and men, right? And then also it's a good source of short fatty chain acid. Okay, nuts and seeds. Just be mindful, don't overdo it. And then spices. Spices are one of the most anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and then anti-cancer substance that you can consume. So such as turmeric, ginger, onion, garlic. Okay, and water. We're 70-75% water. We need to constantly refill ourselves with water, otherwise you get dehydrated. And exercise. Just doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a professional athlete. You can just walk every single day. Maybe about 40-45 minutes. The goal is 90 minutes, but if you do, you'll be so much healthier. Yes, ma'am.
When you're talking about spices, are you talking about like more of your fresh spices, or is this the stuff you get off the store shelf?
You can get it from the, same. So, I try to spices, I try to buy like organic spices, but sometimes, like I buy the whole, like garlic and onion. Those are considered the spices also. But I also buy a lot of things. I use a lot of cumin, coriander, oregano, the turmeric, any kind of spices. Okay. I keep up with Dr. Bharat Agarwal, who is the tenure professor at MD Anderson. And he's done over 26 years, tremendous amount of research in cancer. And he's the person who came up with a lot of the chemotherapy. And a lot of the chemotherapy actually originated from a lot of the Indian spices that he was very familiar with. And he truly believes the spices are a great way to prevent cancer from propagating in your system. Okay?
We're talking about organic. What's your opinion on organic versus non-organic vegetables?
Great question. We're going to go over that just in a little bit. I'm going to give you a list of things that I think that you should eat organic. And then, but most important thing is consuming vegetables. If you don't have organic, consuming is more important than not consuming because they're not organic. Okay? Also, a study have shown that if you wash them and vigorously wash them, you're going to get off any kind of pesticide about 95%. Yes? Yes. Yep. Awesome. You can come up here. Yeah. So it's called Dirty Dozen. I have a list towards the middle of the talk, and then you guys should download the app, and then you can also look them up. Every year they come up with a new list. Okay. And so I'm going to give you the Dirty Dozen list of 2018. Okay. And so this is what I typically eat for breakfast every morning. I typically get up around 5 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing I do is drink warm lemon water, and then I exercise. And after exercise, I either eat a steel-cut oatmeal with berries, and then I add spices also. The way I see things is that food is medicine, and I'm consuming food that's going to heal my body. And taste is important. For me, taste is number 2. For me, everyone's different, but for me, it's about healing my body and using food as medicine first. So I even put turmeric in my oatmeal, and then definitely berries and any other fruits that I have in my freezer, because I tend to buy a lot of the frozen fruits and vegetables so that it doesn't go bad. Okay? And also, I bathe myself basically internally, not externally, internally with smoothies all day long. all day long. And that's what I drink. In the morning, first thing I do is I make about 60 to 64 ounces of smoothie. And then I put in the different containers and I carry around with me all day long. And I call them, anti-cancer smoothies. Okay? I am going to give you a list of everything that I put in. I really do put it in. And then some of you guys been to my house and then made smoothie with me, and I literally put every single one of them. But you don't have to. You can pick and choose. But the most important thing is that 70% of your smoothie should be dark green leafy vegetables. Okay? Dark green leafy vegetables and dark green leafy vegetables. And then blueberries and any other fruits, and then flax seeds. That is like bare minimum. And then after that, then you can add lots of other things. And I'm going to give you my list. Okay? And then if I can cook, I didn't start cooking until like just a couple of years ago. Okay? And don't know anything about cooking, but I realized I needed to learn how to cook because going out to eat does not serve me very well. Okay? I tell, every time I go to a restaurant, first thing I tell the waiter or waitress is that I am allergic to oil. Okay? You do not want to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation when I'm having anaphylactic shock. Okay? And so it gets them alerted, tell the chef, and then it challenges them to make me a meal, okay, without using oil. Okay? And so here, this is what my lunch typically looks like. I make myself, I have a rice cooker, and then I put about 3 or 4 different kinds of grains, right? And then put 7 different kinds of beans and lentils. And then I dump in all the spices, okay? Turmeric, cumin, parsley, basil, you name it. If I see it, if I have it, I just dump it in there. And it tastes great. I like it. Right? And so, and then cruciferous vegetables, and then other vegetables. And then my dinner may look like something like that, a salad, okay? And then, also, you have to, I know everyone's busy, and you need to be able to make things really, really fast. So one of the things I do is, I always get a big bag of sweet potatoes. Very, very healthy. You got to eat the skin. It's the most nutritious part. But it's difficult to eat it. So what I do is, one of the best way to cook it is actually boil it. It retains all the nutrients. And then I put it in my bag. Also, if I'm going to work, if I don't have time to cook my beans, and I also have a lot of beans, okay, just canned beans. Buy the low sodium or no sodium. Okay? If it has low sodium, I also rinse the bean. And then at work at one of the hospitals, because you can't eat at the hospital, okay, except here. Any other hospitals, they have nothing that's healthy. And I've actually posted. And one of my patients who had at the Baylor had a mild MI, and been consulted by cardiologists. I go in next morning to see the patient, and guess what they're eating? Okay, eggs, butter, muffin, orange juice, everything that he should not be eating. Okay, and I was very upset, and then actually went to talk to the administrators, and one of them actually told me, well, we got to make patients happy. Okay, so because patients fill out the surveys. And then if they don't get the food that they want, the points go down. So you're telling me that they care more about the survey than patients' health? That's messed up. That's effed up. Yeah. So I just get the black beans and sweet potatoes and just mash it, right? And then I put in my, I also pre-make a lot of my spices, whatever that I have. Turmeric, oregano, paprika, cumin, cayenne pepper, parsley, and basil. And then I just mix it and put it in the microwave at the doctor's lounge. That becomes a quick lunch along with salad, because they typically have salad. It's pretty sad salad bar, but they do have salad bar. So that's something that I can make real quick. And then also, this is what I consider anti-cancer soup. I always study the ingredient that has anti-cancer properties. That's my recipe. And Instant Pot has become my best friend, and that's the only way I can really cook. And I love soup, and I like stew, and so Instant Pot is perfect. Or you can also do stir fry, and you do not have to use oil. Everyone says, how do you cook? If you actually oil, you're never supposed to cook and heat the oil anyways, right? And if you do, it oxidizes and creates free radicals in your system. So one, you shouldn't be using oil, but if you really have to, you shouldn't be using it to cook it. Okay? So stir fry is something else that I can do. Okay? And prep is very, very important, right? And so what I typically do is when I do have a little time, I get like 7 different kinds of beans and lentils, and then I put them in one container, and I soak them. You got to soak the beans 24 hours, okay? Then it gets rid of most of the lectin. And then if you ever read a book, if you see a book called, what's it, Plant Paradox, throw it away, because that doctor is just talking gibberish, okay? And so lectin is, yes, it is there. If you can't eat beans without cooking it, no duh. Okay? People have known that for thousands of years. Okay? So you soak it and you cook it, and lectin goes away. You don't need to buy his lectin supplement. Okay? But he's scaring a lot of people and moving people away from eating things that has lectin, which is life-saving food. Okay? So beans, very healthy. So I pre-soak them and then I freeze them because I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through all that beans. So I freeze everything. And then also, it's one of the superfood is broccoli sprouts, okay? And it's hard to find. There's only one store that sells a broccoli sprouts that I've been able to find is Sprouts. Because actually they didn't have it last year. I talked to the manager. I said, I don't know if you know the name of your store. It's called Sprouts. You don't have broccoli sprouts. So now they carry broccoli sprouts. Because broccoli sprouts has one of the highest content of what we call sulforaphane. It is incredible food that has so much anti-cancer properties. And then not only that, they've actually given the broccoli sprouts to the kids with autism. Okay? Within 2 weeks, 50% improvement in their cognitive function. Okay? They've also given it to the patients with Alzheimer's. Significant improvement with their memories. Okay? So I advise everyone to sprout their broccoli because it's really cheap. If you buy it, they do sell it, but it's expensive. Small container is like $4 or $5, and it will last you two meals. That's it. So, and it's really easy. And if you actually made a video how to sprout your broccoli seeds, so you can look it up in the YouTube channel. Yes.
Yeah, so I was sprouting wheatgrass at one point, and I had a big fungus problem with the wheatgrass. Do you experience that with your broccoli sprouts, or is that?
No, so you can't keep them damped, right? So you got to have it tilt so that you got to have a special mash so that the water leaks out. And then you have to tilt them about 45 degrees because if you leave it damp, then you may come across a fungus or mold. So, okay. So one of my mottos, it's not about what you don't eat, it's all about what you do eat. Okay. And this is not my refrigerator because most of my stuff is in a freezer. But this is my dream to have a refrigerator like this. I wish I was this organized. But this looks healthy, right? So this is what you should be eating. But if you actually know how to cook, these are the things that you can cook. There's so many resources out there that you can get plant-based recipes like fork over knives, and there's many others. If you just Google, go to the search bar and say whole food plant-based recipes, you're gonna get thousands and thousands of different kinds of recipes. Okay. And then for lunch, you can get whole grain pasta. You can make your own vegetable spring rolls. You can make sushi rolls with just vegetables. And then one thing you'll notice is more and more restaurants these days are trying to accommodate vegans because the numbers are increasing. But you just need to be careful. Not all vegans are healthy. We're here talking about whole food plant-based. Okay, Oreos are vegan. Okay, potato chip is vegan. And so doesn't mean it's necessarily healthy. There's a lot of processed vegan meals. It could be a good transition food, but you need to quickly switch over to a whole food plant-based. Yes, ma'am.
What's wrong with olive oil?
Yeah, great question. So olive oil, any oil, no oil is healthy. So when they did the study with the olive oil, they compared it to coconut oil, canola oil, and all the other oil that's really bad. So they said better. It's a mono, saturated fat. So it's a little bit better than all the others. But is it healthy? No. They've actually done studies. It functions. It destroys your arteries just like any other oil. Okay? If you have to use it, I usually tell people don't use it. If you have to use it, don't use it to cook because it's going to get oxidized and it's going to be really bad. And then most people don't even realize what extra virgin olive oil is. They say you need to buy it. And half the time, you're not really buying extra virgin olive oil. It needs to be cold pressed, right? That's why it's not changing. So, but then people buy the extra virgin olive oil that's cold pressed, and then they go home and cook with it. Doesn't make sense, right? No oil is good for you. You got to eat the whole thing. Avocado is great. It has healthy fat. You got to eat with moderation. But avocado oil is bad. Sesame seeds are great. Sesame oil is bad. Olive is good. Olive oil is bad. Okay? And they've done a lot of studies how your arteries respond to different kinds of oil, and they're all bad. Okay?
Like I said, we've been brainwashed all
Yeah.
our lives.
Yeah, you have. And then also the olive oil, if you go to let's say small town Italy, yeah, it's their extra virgin olive oil doesn't look anything like what you can buy, even at Central Market or Whole Food. It doesn't look anything like it. It's actually green, right? And it tastes different. So if you ever go to Italy, try it, and you'll definitely notice the difference. Okay? So, and then half the time they also mix in with different oil also. So you can't really believe what it says on the label. Okay, and you can even have desserts. Okay, and not too much, but you can still make vegan desserts. So what you should be eating, again, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, legumes, lentils, small amounts of nuts and seeds, okay? And then you got to think about fiber. And probably within the next month or two, we'll talk about gut health, okay? Gut health and keeping your gut bacteria happy is one of the most important things that you could do. We as humans have about 23,000 genes. We carry about 3 to 8 million genes of microbiomes, okay? So we are really a host to the bacteria in our body, okay? And the fiber, the gut bacteria feeds off the fiber, okay? And so we need to keep them happy in order for them to make us happy, okay? And water, a lot of phytonutrients and antioxidants is what you should be consuming. Things that you should be avoiding, okay, in meat, poultry, fish, eggs, processed oil, refined, it should be grains and sugar, dairy, cholesterol, saturated fat, okay? And there are other talks that I do go more in depth science behind why you should be avoiding the animal products, especially meat, poultry, fish, and eggs also. And one of the main reasons is just briefly to let you guys know is it produces what we call trimethylamine. And once you consume them, it goes into your gut. Your gut bacteria converts like carnitine or choline that's in the animal products into trimethylamine. And it goes to your liver and then gets oxidized, and that's what's destroying your body, increases the inflammation. And also if you cook the meat, and you said, well, you know what, I'm gonna cook chicken, I'm gonna grill it because it's supposed to be healthy. In the high heat, it produces what we call heterocyclic amine that gets oxidized. That is carcinogen. It causes cancer. Right? And then now, you would think that it's a pretty common knowledge when the World Health Organization also has classified the processed meats such as bacon, right, or lunch meats as category 1 carcinogens, which means if you eat enough, it will cause cancer. Cigarette is category 1 also. Plutonium is category 1. So bacon is in the same category. But people are still eating it, and they wonder why they're getting cancer and they're getting heart disease, right? So those are the things that you should be avoiding, okay? So just like you asked, so here's a list of Dirty Dozen for 2018. These are the things that you need to be buying organic because high in pesticide. So, strawberries, spinach, nectarine, apple, grapes, peaches, cherries, pears, tomatoes, celery, tomatoes, and sweet bell peppers. So you should try to buy them organic. If you cannot, they've also done the study, if you vigorously rinse the fruits or the vegetables, you can get 95% of the pesticides off the fruits and vegetables. Okay?
Somebody once mentioned vinegar. What's the vinegar that's supposed to help?
You can, but you actually have to put a lot of vinegar, white vinegar. And they also, Procter & Gamble a long time ago also came up with some spray to help get rid of the pesticide. It didn't work. They sold a lot of it, but when people did the study, it didn't work. So they were selling the food that had the pesticide, and then they were selling the pesticide, and they were also selling this. So, and then here's the conventional things that you do not have to. These are clean. You do not have to buy organic. So most of the time, if it has a skin that you can't eat, then what's inside is mostly safe. So this is a clean 15 list. So you don't waste your money buying organic for these items. Okay?
I see cauliflower and broccoli on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I was surprised too. So.
With corn, don't you worry about the GMOs? With corn, don't you worry about GMOs?
Yeah, so I mean, you should try to buy things that are non-GMO, but there's really no solid study that GMOs are really bad because it hasn't really been long. It takes a long time for them to identify what's really wrong with the GMO products. It's mostly marketing, and so, but most of the products these days that are consumed by the human are non-GMO. So, and people always ask, I'm glad you brought that up, like soy. They say, oh, soys are all GMO because 90% of the soy that's produced in this country is GMO.
Absolutely right, but you should consume soy because what you consume is non-GMO. Okay? They do not serve GMO soy to human, and soy are extremely healthy, has so much anti-cancer properties that you should be consuming soy. Prevents breast cancer, prevents prostate cancer, and it has one of the strongest what we call anti-angiogenic component. Okay? What that means that in order for cancers to grow and then and spread, it needs to form blood vessels around it. It prevents it from happening. Okay? So soy is one of the great beans to eat. I'm sorry? I prefer just about anything minimally processed or unprocessed. So I personally enjoy like edamame. Okay? But soy milk, you got to look at the different brands and then see how much chemicals that they have in there, or you could try to make it on your own. But most of the time, the soy milk, if you consume just a small amount, that's perfectly fine. So I do have soy milk at home. Yeah, I don't drink it every day because I like edamame. So, yes, ma'am.
As far as you're saying these are clean because of the spray and the pesticides on it.
Mm-hmm.
Once they turn the soil, does it not make them not as nutrition inside the product versus if you would buy organic because that has to go through like a 3-year process of organic? So
Yeah. There's with the nutrition value, of organic versus non-organic also. So there's actually a lot of mixed studies because some of them, the organic products, don't seem to have as much nutrients as non-organic, and then some studies argues against that. So it's really unknown, and then also it depends what part of the country the vegetables and fruit comes from also. And I always talk about, you hear me talk about, if we go in more in depth about cardiovascular disease, I talk about nitric oxide production. It comes from eating dark green leafy vegetables. That's what heals your arteries. Okay? And they've done studies, and organic versus non-organic. Non-organic dark green leafy vegetables actually produce more nitrates and nitric oxide than organic ones. But then it also depended on what part of the country they got the vegetables from. So it's really difficult to tell. So my thing is, eat it. The benefit significantly outweighs the risk. So wash them well at home and eat them. Okay, whether it's organic or non-organic. Okay. So as I promised, here's my super green smoothie recipe, and it is a lot, but you don't have to use them all. But I do use kale, spinach, arugula, chard, and broccoli sprouts every single day, and it usually makes up about 70%. And that's why I have to make a 64-ounce smoothie each day because I put in all these. And flaxseed is a must also. Berries is must. And but like I said, you don't have to put every single one of these. Just sorry. Okay, and then these are the things that I like to include when I do cook food, whether it's a soup or anything else. These are the food that is well known and well documented to provide a lot of anti-cancer properties. Tomatoes, for example, but you want to cook them. I mean, you can eat them raw. It's really good for you, but when you cook them, you get a lot more lycopenes in your system, and so it becomes much more bioavailable. Onions, raw is better than cooked. Mushroom, I forgot to write it. You have to cook it. You have to cook mushrooms. So I don't consume mushrooms with my salad. There's a lot of salad bars that has mushrooms. I don't. There's a little bit of what we call, I don't want to scare you, but carcinogen properties in every mushroom. As soon as you cook it for a few seconds, it's gone. Okay, so you want to cook your mushroom. Seeds, nuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds. Consume them every day. Different kinds of spices, right? So S stands for spices, and soy. Okay, and then G stands for dark green leafy vegetables, especially cruciferous vegetables. I consume a lot of broccoli sprouts, broccoli, kale, spinach, garlic. I drink, in the morning I drink maybe about a cup, no more than 2 cups of coffee. And then rest of the day, if I need something, then I drink a variety of teas, but especially green teas. And then the beans, and B stands for beans and berries. So this is the way I remember it. Tom's GB. Somehow, I'm able to remember it this way. So, okay. So how do you stay? Here are a few steps that I think I would recommend you taking if you're interested in, undergoing transformation and adapting whole food plant-based lifestyle. Just keep on learning. We host a seminar every single month, okay? And each time, again, we try to cover different topics. And so please join us. If you can't make it, we do Facebook Live also. So it's better to be here than on the screen. But if you can't make it, check us out in the Facebook Live. It's on facebook.com/SpyDr1. Also, watch some of these documentaries on Netflix. Forks Over Knives, fantastic film. What the Health, many of you probably have seen it already. And those are great, great films. Also, another book that I would recommend is How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. It's a fantastic book. And also, he has an amazing website. It's a free website. You just type in any question that you have. You go to the nutritionfacts.org and then type in, benefits of flaxseed, for example. Then it gives you a list of videos that he's made, as well as articles, and it's all evidence-based. He and his organization, his not-for-profit organization, goes through about 30,000 medical journals every single year, combing through them, and then everything that he talks about in his book, as well as his website, is all evidence-based. Okay? So you can check it out. And then, the first thing you should do is you should go home and clean out your kitchen. Okay? If it's in a box, if it's processed, just throw it out. Okay? Make the transformation. You took effort to get here, so today is the best day. Tonight is the best time to clean out your kitchen. Okay? And then throw out all that animal products out there that's I consider as poison that causes cancer, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, all the other chronic disease. So clear out your kitchen. That's the first step. So don't let yourself be tempted, okay? And even open up all the secret drawers where you hide your candy bars, okay? Get rid of them, okay? And then stock your kitchen, okay? And so you can also download our quick start guide, and we give you a recommendation on the things that you need to buy and have in your pantry. And so you can go to our website, lumenhealth.com, and it's free. You can download our free guide to whole food plant-based. and then go to the grocery store this weekend, and then stock your kitchen. Okay? And then planning is important. If you just, if you don't plan, you're going to come across a place where you can't eat, and then you get hungry, and you're going to make bad choices. It's okay. I mean, if you ate bad one day, then the next day you make sure you eat, healthy again. Eat whole food, plant-based. But you want to plan ahead. I tend to go to a grocery store on weekends, and then I do a lot of meal prep on Sundays. And as you've seen me making, prepping for my beans. And then, before I go to bed, I just put all the grains, onion, garlic, tomatoes, and all the 7 beans and spices, and put it in the rice cooker. And next morning, it's all done. And then put it in the container, and I'm off to the hospital. So, planning is key. Also, if you go out to eat, a lot of times, I enjoy, social settings, meeting with different friends. But, if they want to meet at the steakhouse, I'm not going to say I'm not going to go. But I don't eat there, but I eat before. And so I always prepare. And so, I always have enough like sweet potatoes that's been boiled in my refrigerator, I microwave it, or I carry fruits around. Some of you guys may have seen me with my green bag. I carry that bag everywhere. And I have a lot of food in there, at least a couple of apples, a couple of bananas, and then, walnuts, pumpkin seeds. And I also have carry emergency black beans around. And then with the can opener. You just never know when you get really hungry, right? And so you just got to get prepared, okay? And then, find a partner. Do it with, family members. Do it with friends. And then so you can keep each other accountable, right? And so it's so much easier, right? And you can ask questions. And then also, join our Facebook group. If you have ever questions, and then, put them up there. Not just myself, but you're going to have a lot of other people giving you feedback. And so we're building a community, okay? Be resilient. It's hard. It's hard to make transition, okay? For some people, it's easier. You had a massive heart attack, and then your doctor is telling you that you can go ahead and eat, omelet and all the things that you shouldn't be eating. But you found the whole food plant-based lifestyle, and some people are able to make the transition immediately, 100%. But not everyone can do that. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. And so just, if you're down one day, just make sure you get up, and then you just continue to make the effort, okay? And then stay involved. As I mentioned, we have a Facebook group, Lumen Health Plant-Based Diet and Lifestyle. Please join. Share recipes, ask questions, invite other friends to join. It's not an exclusive group. We just want to know that you have an interest. And tell your friends, your family members about it. And if you have medical questions, if you put up a question, I personally answer most of them myself. We also have a family medicine physician, Dr. Orson Rodriguez. He's fantastic. He's very, very knowledgeable about whole food plant-based. He's out in Crossroads. But he also gives us his input. If you ever need a family medicine physician, a general practitioner, and your doctor is telling you, oh, you shouldn't do plant-based, you're going to be malnourished, you're going to be deficient in protein. Doctors do not know what they're talking about, unless they specifically study nutrition. Because how many hours do you think we got in med school in nutrition? Yes?
24 or less.
Wow, you give us a lot of credit. I think we have one class in nutrition, 1 hour.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
isn't it like what they recommend is 24 hours?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I know that's not what you get. But
Yeah, that's definitely not. I don't know how much they recommend. They should recommend 100 hours, but they don't. And it's usually less than an hour. I know some physicians, they still think the food pyramid still exists. It no longer exists. It's a power plate. A power plate came about because the PCRM, the Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine, sued the USDA, and then they had them change. They adapted from the whole food plant-based. Okay? So instead of saying legumes and beans, they said protein. Okay? And then they put a little bit of a milk on it. And so another thing, the hospital a lot of times is not feeding the patients the healthy meals. government also don't really care about your health. Okay, they are pushing cheese, milk, and working with the lobbyists to serve themselves, to serve the multi-billion-dollar corporations. Okay, they're not looking after your interests. That's why you are the only one who can look after your interests, right? So, yes.
Can't be very popular with other doctors.
Or the pharmacy people.
I don't know, usually people run away, right? They see me, and even some of the employees, and they I go to the cafeteria, they hide the food. Yeah, but you know what? You'll hear from some of the people who've gone through the transformation, and then you will be inspired. They inspire me because it has changed their lives, right? And once you learn, once you benefit from it, one of the things you can do is you can pay it forward, give it back, and tell other friends, okay? And because you didn't know, most people don't know, okay? I can't blame them. Health is a choice, heart attack is a choice, diabetes is a choice, but most people don't know. So I want to talk about the success stories, okay? So a lot of times in the past, I borrowed the patients from like Dr. McDougall, Dr. Greger, and some of the other pioneers, and talked about their patients. But we've been hosting seminars since October, and I've gotten to know some of the people who've attended and then who's been in the community, and so we have our own success stories. And if you've gone through the process and you benefited, please also let us know so we can share your stories with everybody else also. Okay. First, I'm going to talk about two patients who couldn't be here. They were supposed to be here. What we're originally going to plan was have a panel of the attendees who've gone through this process, and then have Q&A sessions with them. But things came up, and then some of them couldn't be here. So I'm going to first talk about Rita. She's been diabetic for 13 years. And a little cheat here. So this was her before, and this is after, and even her skin is glowing and looking so much better. Okay? So she was insulin-dependent type 2 diabetic. Okay? Not just diabetic, but not just type 2, but she was insulin-dependent. Her A1C is 12.5. So if you know anything about diabetes, that's horrible. Okay? That's near death. Okay? And it should be significantly less than 6.5. And her fasting glucose was 280. And then her LDL, they couldn't even measure it because it's off the chart. Okay? So her doctor put her on insulin, and then also multiple oral medications for her diabetes. And then she's also been on high blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine, and never seen, even with medicine, she's never seen a normal blood sugar level. Okay? And if you come to one of our talk about how to reverse diabetes, okay, you can experience what she's experienced, because most of the physicians are treating the effect, not the cause. Okay, it's not about treating the blood sugar. Okay, it's treating the cause. Okay, so she first time she came to the seminar was in October, and then I remember because she sat right up in the front, and then she had her own chicken, and she said, "How about eggs? Eggs got to be healthy." Right? We had multiple debates, right? No eggs. And so, she kind of tried it for a month, and then she failed, and then so she went back to her old ways and eating standard American diet, and then she tried again, but then she said every time she went back to the SAD diet, she just didn't feel well, okay? So she made a commitment with her friend, February 1st, just to go all out, 100% whole food plant-based. She's been to our seminar enough. She felt comfortable making that transition. Okay, so within 10 days, okay, she was able to discontinue her insulin. She no longer had to inject herself. Okay, that only took 10 days. Okay? She's been diabetic for 13 years, okay? And her fasting glucose was 72 to 84. It used to be 280, and then even after a meal, right, plant-based meal, the blood sugar was in normal range. Okay? And then within 2 weeks, she was able to cut her oral medication by 50%. And then by March 24th, so about 6 weeks, she's off of all her medications. Okay, all. It only took her 6 weeks. Okay, a lot of times the doctors will tell you that once you become diabetic, you're going to be on that medicine for the rest of your life. Okay? And there's a significant side effect that comes with all the medications. So she also suffered from a major GI issues that started back in 2015. She's seen multiple specialists, and no one could figure out what was going on. Well, because most people who are meat eaters don't have the right type of gut bacteria, okay? And there are a lot of gut issues. And so as soon as she made the change, okay, then it disappeared. Okay, her gut issues was gone. Okay, and I guess duplicated that. And then so also February 1, she weighed about 195, BMI at 34.6. So within 1 month, with 4 weeks, right, February, so she lost about 12.5 pounds. Okay, we always say weight loss is side effect. Okay, it's typically the side effect. And she also suffered from depression, and she said that her depression is gone also. So she sent me this text message, and she apologized that she couldn't be here today, but she sent me this over the text message. She said, the plant-based lifestyle not only helped me get off meds, but also rejuvenated me, energized me, took my depression away, and I wake up looking forward to the day, know that I can juggle any schedule. My stress buffer has increased. Okay? My mental process has cleared. Gone is fogginess, and slowness, slugging for even simple words. I'm slugging. Oh my, oh my. How can I choose knowing what I know now to go back? It would be committing slow, cruel suicide. Okay? So, and then she also mentioned, as she sent me the picture before and after, she said, oh my God, my skin looks, I don't know if you guys can see it, but her skin has improved significantly also. So. And Janice, never met her, but I got her permission. She met her through the Facebook, and she had carcinoid tumor. Her doctor recommended removing her part of her stomach, but she chose to just do endoscopy every year to observe it. And she also has severe back pain, and her surgeon obviously went to the wrong surgeon. No, I'm just kidding. Recommended a fusion with screws and metals and things like that. And so her son, who's vegan, recommended a vegan diet. And then she also started taking spices such as turmeric. And she said she's now 85% pain-free. So go Janice. So this is power of plant-based and vegan diet. So Arthur was going to be here last minute. He couldn't be here tonight, but he's another success story. So July 2017, last year, he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Also, he had fatty liver disease, obesity, high cholesterol, and doctor prescribed him, of course, a bunch of medications. And doctor also recommended South Beach diet. Okay, so told you they didn't know nutrition. But he tried it. He took the recommendation, but he said he just didn't feel well. And then and he switched to plant-based nutrition. And then he and his wife also took a plant-based cooking class with Dr. T as well, after they met them at the seminar. And so just recently, so April 10th, so he's so far lost about 50 pounds. So you see him before and after, and reversed diabetes, reversed the fatty liver disease, and then reversed the high cholesterol. He's no longer on any medications. Okay. So Bobby is here today, so he's going to come up and tell you about his story. He had August 2015. He had a pretty big heart attack, and he survived. Had a stent placed, and then the cardiologist, just advised him to eat better. But he was able to, from neighbor's recommendation, bought a book on plant-based, and then how to reverse the disease, and lost 70 pounds, and is in great, looks like a completely different person. So he's going to tell you about his story and his experience, and then feel free to ask any questions about their challenges, how they made the transformation. And so this is an opportunity for you guys to to ask questions to your peers. And Denise is here also. She's amazing. She had rheumatoid arthritis for 3 years, had a lot of difficulties, okay? Even just walking, even dressing, even just performing everyday tasks, and just even working as a paralegal. She was having such a difficult time. And she even couldn't remember her children's name, okay? But she was able to, I'm going to have her tell her story. She tells it so much better. But she decided, she came to one of our a seminar, I think it was in December, right? And then she met with Dr. T. Dr. T, Patricia Thompson occasionally do a food demonstration for us. And she hosts a cooking class. And so if you guys have an opportunity, you guys should definitely take the class. It's great. And then after that, within just 1 month, that she's been in remission, and then she'll give you an update on as to what has happened since then. And she's also lost about 12 pounds, which is a side effect. It's not about just losing weight; it just happens. But it's also nice to lose weight. Okay, so she's sleeping well. Her skin and hair. Everyone talks about their skin, right? Skin and hair are healthier, and she's feeling amazing. So. I'll stay, of course, behind to answer any questions, but I'm going to have Bobby and Denise come up here and introduce themselves, and then tell you about their story, and then feel free to ask them any questions. Okay? Bobby? Denise?
I really hate that picture. When that picture was taken, I was very ill. Oh, I'm sorry. You're good. About 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Hit me like overnight. Doctor said you had symptoms coming. I'm telling you, I woke up middle of the night, thought I had a stroke. I was half paralyzed. Turned out they diagnosed me immediately. Doctors put me on medications. I have been on numerous medications because none of them would work. My thought process was, if I'm going to basically poison myself, I better wake up and feel real good every morning. Didn't work. I couldn't walk, couldn't get myself dressed. The medication side effects were horrible. My hair fell out. My skin was almost green. Couldn't remember my kids' names. Couldn't do my job as a paralegal. There were many times that pill bottles lined up were looking a whole lot better than living my life like this. And I know that's a really sad thought, but when you wake up every day in chronic pain and nobody will give you an answer or help you, you start losing hope. So since the doctors wouldn't help me, I decided to take my life and my health in my control. And I did so much research, reading, and read Force Over Knives with health. So I slowly started transitioning myself. I first gave up dairy, and being married to an Italian, that is really hard, especially if you love cheese. But I gave up that first, then I gave up processed sugars. It was a slow transition. Pretty much was eating organic, felt pretty good, but I still was not there. December, I started having heart issues. I was almost going into cardiac arrest, and that was because the Humira I was taking, which they don't tell you is a side effect, was causing heart disease. At 52 years old, they were telling me I could potentially have a heart attack at any moment. And that's when I said, this is enough. So I went off all my meds December 1st. I attended a seminar here mid-December, and I was intrigued. I tried everything else. The only thing left was meat. And they tell you you need to eat meat for protein and drink milk for calcium. And once again, yes, we have all been brainwashed all our lives. I'm telling you that. I'm living proof of it, that this works. January 1st, my husband and I went completely plant-based. He did it to support me. I did it because I was trying to get rheumatoid arthritis into remission because the doctors were telling me you will be on medication all your life. And that wasn't going to happen. I was going to live my life like that. So we did. We went all in. cleaned out the pantry. We had to leave half of it for the kids because they were not going to do this. Dr. T has a plant-based seminar, cooking classes that she does on Saturdays. She's awesome. Her website is Eat Plants for Life. She's amazing. She taught me how to cook and plan your pantry out. Did that. February I went for my blood work with Dr. Rodriguez up in Crossroads. He is a little far out, but for me it was worth the ride because he is a medical doctor that completely supports plant-based diets. And I will tell you there are far and few between in the area. Did my blood work. By the end of February I found out I had got my rheumatoid arthritis in complete remission. So I had medical doctors telling me all my life that I would be on meds all my life, and I just proved all three of them wrong, okay? Went still eating, I just found out Friday, not only have I put it into remission, my RA factor, which is the gene they look for in my blood that says you have rheumatoid arthritis, is gone. So I have completely beat the disease, which they will tell you you can't do, but I'm telling you I am local. I live in Wiley. I work in Frisco. I did a lot of research and never find anybody close to home that has been through this. I am proof to y'all you can do this. It's not easy, but it is worth it. You will feel so much better. And you take a little at a time, you start eliminating your diet, and before you know it, you're completely plant-based. You feel good. My hair is coming all back in. It's normally not curly. For some reason, when it came back, it decided to be curly. So, I got a new do on top of it. My skin looks good. I'm 52 years old, and somebody asked me the other day, what are you, about 35, 36? And I just was like, oh, my new friend. So, if you are ill, I encourage you to please try it. I recently met somebody with lupus. She was diagnosed 7 years ago. She was taking 6 hydrocodone a day to just get up and function because she's in so much agony. Okay, she gets maybe 2 hours sleep per night. That is not living. Okay, I met with her, just kind of told her my story. If I can help one person, my suffering for the past 3 years was worth it. And I am happy to say she is 5 weeks on plant-based. She is down to 1 hydrocodone, and she sleeps almost the entire night. Okay, so I'm telling you, this works. It's worth it. Give it 60 days, and that was the bet I made with my husband. I told him in 60 days, if I was not feeling better or he was not any thinner, I would take him to Texas Roadhouse and buy him the biggest steak they had. Okay. We are past 60 days. My husband has lost 25 pounds. And we're not even exercising. I don't have time to exercise right now, that's next. But trust me, he sits on the couch at night watching TV. He's not exercising. 25 pounds just melted off by cutting out the dairy, the meat, the chicken. It's incredible. So please, I will be here if you have any questions, but please try it. That's all I'm asking. If you have health issues, I promise you, I will guarantee you will feel better. I promise. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bobby. Like Dr. Ron said, a couple of years ago, it was actually 2016. August of 2016 is when I had my heart attack. It started out with just aches and pains around my shoulder and my neck, and evolved into not being able to breathe, and turned into a very scary situation. And I thought, while I was just aching there, that I would get up and maybe take some Advil or something to relieve it, because I thought I might have pulled a muscle in my back or something. Well, by the time I got up off the couch to go get that pill, I went to my knees, and I got to the point where I couldn't breathe. And it was getting very intense. And that old saying about having an elephant sitting on your chest, I actually had that elephant there. So I reached for my phone, called my son. He lived across the street. And I said, son, I think I'm having a heart attack, but I did it in short breaths. And dragged me through in the end truck, and we did the Grand Prix all the way to the hospital. He's weaving in and out of traffic, trying to keep us alive, I guess. And gets me to the ER. And I fall out of the truck into a wheelchair. And they wheel me in, start doing the procedures on me, connected me to the monitor device. The ER doctor walks in, looks at me, and looks at my monitor, and he goes, "Yep, that's a heart attack. I'm gonna go call the cath lab." Right there, and reality got very real. And actually, I was a lot more scared whenever he said, "Yes, that's a heart attack," than I was whenever I realized this probably is a heart attack. Whenever they got me to the cath lab, put this pen into my heart, and got my circulation back into my heart to where I wasn't going to die. They sent me to the ICU for 3 days to monitor me, and of course, because I had a catheter in my groin going up to my heart. Whenever they took that catheter out and got me out of bed that first day, I thought, well, good, maybe I can go back to work in a few days. No. I was hobbling in the hallway with one of the walkers. I'm like, "I'm gonna get that." She said, "Yes, you will." Got me out of bed, and I was literally like, oh my God. I had lost all my strength. And laying in ICU for 3 days, you have a lot of time to think because there's not much going on. You're either staring at the ceiling or watching the TV or saying hello to the nurse that's just coming in and taking your license. Whenever I got out of ICU and was going back home, my wife came and picked me up. And she says, "Are you hungry?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "What do you want to eat?" I have not the earth, yes I did. Because right now I'm scared to eat anything because I know what caused my heart attack. It was all the fast foods, the burgers, the fries, the barbecue, going to the restaurants and eating the enchiladas and, all this stuff that we normally eat on a daily basis. That's the way I lived for years. That's all I knew. So she goes, "Well, what can you eat?" "I don't know." She goes, "Well, there's Chick-fil-A." "Okay, I'm hungry. Maybe the chicken won't kill me." Well, we go through there and I get a chicken wrap, because I eliminated the bread and everything. I knew bread was bad for me in the first place. And all this time I had been trying to eat better. I had been putting salads in about every 2 or 3 minutes. Vegetables a little bit here and there. But I was still using the oils, the butter, the salt, the sodium, And it got pretty difficult, to think about what am I going to be able to eat? How am I going to fix this? Am I going to have a heart attack or a stroke next? Again, you get very nervous about eating anything. Well, she had a friend at work to tell her, "You need your husband to read this book." And the book was Dr. Stephen Mashley's 30-Day Heart Disease. And I said, "Okay, I'll read anything right now." And I've never been much of a person to read books. And the time I had home, because the doctor said, "Oh yeah, maybe up to 4 to 6 weeks." And I'm like, "I can't stay out of work that long." He goes, "Well, that's it. When you have a heart attack, you don't really understand what's happening. It has basically crippled you for a little while." Whenever I started reading this book, it started talking about the standard American diet. It started talking about all the foods that normal people eat, what it does to them, and the type of foods that you should be eating, like grains and fruits, vegetables, nuts, berries, all those things that you heard from Dr. Wanda. I was very confused about what I was going to do. But you know what? That's the first book I ever read from cover to cover. I even read the copyright, the preface, and the printed, who printed it. Because I wanted to make sure I did not miss any information in this book. Because whenever you're scared, you don't know what to do. The next thing on your mind is, how long have I got to live? read that book, and about halfway through it, there's recipes that are the other half of it. I grabbed the trash bags, boxes, and I went into my kitchen. I started pulling things out of the cabinets, the shelves, counters, and all this stuff there, you know, where I stashed it, my hiding spots. And I started throwing them in the bags. I was either going to give it away or throw it, one of the two things, because I'm going to change my life. And I didn't know Dr. Juan or any of these other people. I didn't hear much about plant-based dieting. I heard about all the other crazy diets, and I was like, yeah, I'm not trying those. But whenever you get to that point in your life, you know you're going to make a change in your life. You either do it or you don't. You either care about living or you don't care about living. Well, I cared more about living than I did all of those foods in my life. I went out and bought all new grains, fruits, vegetables, everything low sodium, everything I could find that was healthy and nutritious. I spent several $100s in the grocery store. And I was going to the grocery store every single day going, is there something else in here better than what I got? Yeah, my bank account was going, stop! Don't do this no more. You know, because I was looking at my funds going, and my cabinets were going full, and I'm like, oh, should I stop now? But I started eating these foods, cooking my meals at home, prepping my stuff, and taking it with me or doing whatever I needed to do in order to eat that instead of the stuff that was out, you know, in the city. I worked at like 10 different hospitals. And whenever you go from hospital to hospital and everything, you get that rumble in your stomach and it's like, feed me. So I started carrying a backpack. And I carried all sorts of grains, fruits, and nuts and everything in this backpack. And as I'm driving down the road, I'm grabbing a handful of cashews, popping them in, you know, other things. Grabbing an orange. I'm peeling an orange, holding my steering wheel. I got very talented. Whenever I started getting closer to like a couple of months, because this happened in August, and we're talking about maybe late October, early November. I walked to one of my hospitals that I hadn't been in a while, and somebody walked up to me and they go, "Bobby, are you okay?" Yeah, why? Because I'm thinking, oh, do I look pale or something? What's wrong? And he goes, man, you lost a lot of weight. Are you sick? I said, oh, no, I lost weight. He goes, yeah. I said, oh, okay. Well, thank you. He says, what are you doing? Are you sick or something? I said, no, I'm not sick. I said, I just changed my diet. I probably lost a little weight. And that kind of stuck with me. When I got back home, I was thinking to myself, so I got out the old scale and put it on the floor. I jumped on it. It says 230 pounds. I said, what? 230 pounds? Wait a minute. When I was in the hospital, I was 268, 270. That's in a couple of months. I was like, whoa. I picked up the scale, pulled the batteries out, and chunked them in the trash. Two new shit. It's batteries in it. Put it back on the floor. 230. Now listen to me. Whoa, okay. Right there I realized something did happen. I've changed dramatically. As hard as I tried to lose weight before, by eating what I thought was better, by doing what I thought was better, I couldn't lose more than 5 to 10 pounds at a time. And if I strayed from it, I would gain another 3 or 4 pounds on top of that. You know the story. Everybody's done it. We've all done it. I started keeping a list of my every other day weight and marking it on a dry erase board. And I started noticing 3, 4, 5, even 6 pounds disappearing. I'm not exercising. I'm getting out and walking like the doctor told me. My cardiologist said, get out and walk a little bit. And he goes, oh, by the way, you know, make sure you do something about your back. I said, okay. And this is the man I walked by his office office and I see a fast food sack on this. Pretty much every time I go. And I'm like, wow, okay. But I will do as best as I can. The Thanksgiving came around, and I thought, oh man, Thanksgiving. Who can pass the Thanksgiving food, man? You know, this is all the stuff that you just love to eat every single year. I'll just take a little taste of each, you know. Let me tell you, that's a big mistake. That is an extremely big mistake. Because once you have detoxed your body, you've got all of that bad stuff out of your body, and you just put a little bit back in. Have you heard of the Montezuma suspend? My stomach went crazy and said, "What are you doing?" And it took its revenge. I was like, "Whoa, man, was that just that food that did that to me?" You know, 3 days out, I was cramping and hurting, and I was like, "Man, I might have to go get some airlines or something." But I got back on my regiment of what I was doing, plant-based, and Christmas came around, and I walked by tables of food that my wife and her family had prepared, and I just kind of looked at it, and I was like, I'd piece a little bit here and there and everything, and go, "Did you hear something?" Because I didn't want that grumble to come back that I had from Thanksgiving. Whenever I went back for my checkup, it was like 6 months after, to my cardiologist. He ran another stress test on me. My first stress test was like a week or two after my heart attack. And I struggled on that treadmill. I mean, I was, oh God, all right, are we almost done? And I'm thinking to myself, I'll be glad when this is over, you know, because I was struggling. I was still trying to, you know, breathe a little bit, you know, hard. And 6 months after that, being on the plant-based diet, I got on that treadmill and I was moving. He started raising that thing and watching the monitor on it, and it got faster to the point where I was running. And I'm just looking over at him going, okay, what are you going to do next? And he finally got to the end of it, slowed it down, got to cool down point, got off the treadmill. And I stood there and I noticed I'm not breathing hard at all. I looked at him and I said, well, what do you think? And he goes, wow, you did great. He says, looks at my chart and he goes, it was like 6 months ago that you couldn't even breathe. It sounded like you were running a marathon. I was like, really? Okay. He goes, yeah, wow. He said, you did real good. He says, it's like it never even happened. I was like, that's cool. I like that. So changing all of this in my life and everything, and now 2 years out, I got back on the scale like maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was down from 195. My weight stopped at 205 at 6 months out, and it took me a little bit longer to get further because I guess it hit what you call that plateau, that bottom out, and then your body basically is readjusting. It takes a whole year or so before your body starts realizing this is where you need to be, and then it makes its slight adjustments. So about 190, 195 is basically where my body wants to be. Whenever all of this came to a decision of going plant-based, I was really worried if I was going to be able to deal with it. And that's whenever I discovered that forks over knives. And then I discovered vegan restaurants that were doing somewhat plant-based menus. And now there's that comfort food thing that you think that you're going to miss. You can actually help it in ways. You find other things out there that are not meat, but they almost take the place of meat. So that's where I kind of lost my struggle. So now, whenever somebody's cooking bacon, heavily buttered popcorn, it doesn't bother me. Those things used to be, oh man, you smell that? I gotta go get me some of that. Yeah, no, I don't do that anymore. So it's hard, yeah. But what makes it hard is not being scared. If you're scared of what is going to be later on in your life, then you take a little bit more notion to sticking with something permanent and hanging in there the best way you can. But once you see results, people are going up to you and saying, wow, you look great. Your skin color is different. I've had people say that to me too. Yeah, your skin color is like a lot more flesh tone than it was before. So yeah, that's kind of my story. And you know, everybody, if you're going to go this route, you know, think about how you're going to fight all these little, I guess you call them demons that come to you. The bacon, the bad foods, the holidays. Those are the hardest things to get past. But once you learn how to get past them, they don't bother you anymore. I mean, you can ask my wife, she's like, you want some of this? Nah, that's fine.
What was the name of the book that you mentioned?
It was 30-Day Heart Tune-Up by Dr. Stephen Massey. That's the first book that I ever read.
Thank you. So, do you guys have any questions for Bobby or Denise? Sure.
I'm not a fan of nuts, so you get a benefit. I can swallow anything. If you swallow the nuts whole, do you get any kind of benefit from swallowing it?
No. Well, you gotta break it down, and so you gotta chew it. And so if you don't like to eat it, then you can put it in the smoothie. So there are certain nuts, like walnuts. You know, it's got omega-3. It's got vitamin 12. And it's lots of benefits also. Or like one of the things I do is once a week I eat Brazilian nut. Has a lot of selenium, so you don't want to eat too much. But having one of that lowers cholesterol just as much as statin drugs. Also, things like Indian gooseberry powder, amla. Brazilian nuts. Yeah, and then also Indian gooseberry amla powders. You can do amla powders instead of taking statin, and lowers your cholesterol just as much. And also, if you do whole food plant-based, it's going to naturally lower all the cholesterols. So, but even like broccolis and things like that. Those are one of the things that we talk about a lot, and then I also post at our Facebook about broccoli, for example. You have to chew, and if you're going to cook broccoli, you want to slice it, let it sit there for a little bit before you cook it. But there's a whole reason, because you have to, once you break the cell wall, there's an enzyme within it that has to mix in, okay? And then that's what makes such a thing as sulforaphane. And so you got to let it sit there and breathe a little bit before you actually eat it or cook with it. Or chewing is very, very important. Also, it increases your enzyme in your system also. But those are the things that we'll definitely go over in each topic. And even with Denise, with rheumatoid autoimmune disease, it all happens from gut. This is where your autoimmune disease starts. And once you heal your gut using a whole food plant-based diet, eventually those autoimmune diseases are going to disappear. Lupus, same thing. RA, the same thing. Okay, so that's what we really need to focus on. And with heart disease, there's reason why we push dark green leafy vegetables. And Dr. Esselstyn, who's done tremendous amount of studies for heart patients who had many cardiac events, would prescribe dark green leafy vegetables 6 times a day. About a fistful. You can boil it, or if you want to eat it as a salad, that's fine too. 6 times a day. That's to increase the nitrate in your system, which becomes a nitric oxide, which heals your artery and open up the vessels. So there's actually a lot of science behind whole food plant-based. It's not just eating fruits and vegetables and then being healthy. I mean, you do get healthy, but there's definitely a scientific reason why you do get healthy and why you are repairing yourself. Human body is amazing, right? I mean, if you break a bone, what do? I mean, like you set it. All we do is, as an orthopedic surgeon, we just set it, put it into the right place so that bone can heal. Your body is doing the heal. All we're doing is assisting, right? And so you need to assist your body. And I ask everybody. Most of you probably drove unleaded car, right? And so when you go to a gas station, do you put diesel in your car? No, right? Why not? You're going to break the car, right? Break the engine. So that means you care more about your car than your own body, because you know you're not supposed to put a diesel. You should be putting super unleaded, right? So once you learn, then you understand. And those are some of the things that we go over each month. So,
Another question is,
yeah.
you talked about the gut. I've always read and heard that yogurt is very good for a lot of probiotics.
Yeah. Yeah.
People also take supplements like probiotic supplements and multivitamins. What are your thoughts on supplements? What are your thoughts on yogurt?
Yeah, it's the dairy industry all doing all that marketing, right? So probiotics, ideally, yes, it is good, but no yogurt has more than 4 billion, microbiomes. Okay? In order to be effective, you need 400 billion bacteria. Okay? So probiotics, most of them, it's just a waste. Okay? And so what's actually more important is prebiotics. Prebiotics are fiber. Okay? That's, you're feeding the bacteria. And so within just a week, if you eat right, you are going to repopulate. If you're a meat eater, your gut bacteria looks completely different than mine. Okay? NIH has been doing also a lot of the genome studies on microbiomes and then in your gut bacteria. By just studying your stool, they pretty much know what kind of disease that you may have based on the type of gut bacteria that you carry in your gut. Okay? And so there's a few supplements that you do need to take. Even your meat eater, omnivores, 90% of the omnivores are deficient in vitamin B12. So, and those, you can definitely get vitamin B12 from plant sources, but it is harder and it's not as bioavailable. So I recommend everyone take, whether you're meat eater or not, take vitamin B12. It is very important. No debate. Take it. Okay, you got to take it. And then also, most everyone needs vitamin D3. Most of us spend their time inside. So unless you're living in specific, part of the earth, you're not going to get the direct UV ray. So chances are, most people, about 70% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D3, and very, lack a lot of the micronutrients.
So fish oil would be bad for you.
The fish oil, the problem with fish oil is there's a lot of them has a lot of contamination. And the reason to take fish oil is for fatty acid, right? And so, I usually, I eat flax seeds every day. So I usually don't have a problem with it. So, yes, ma'am.
Could you speak to the difference between D2 and D3?
Yeah, D3 is more important. D2 is not as bioavailable, and so I recommend everyone just taking vitamin D3. Yes.
Is coffee good for you?
There's always one day coffee is bad for you. The next day coffee is good for you. But looking at the studies, it shows that it increases longevity, but you can't really drink more than 2 or maximum 3 cups a day. So if you enjoy it, I don't add anything. I usually drink black coffee. It takes a little time to get used to it, but I drink no more than 2 cups, in the morning. Okay? Yeah, I can just leave your email and then be happy to share with you. Okay? So I'd like to share, I'll answer some more questions, but I always end the talk with this cartoon, okay? So cows are being led to the slaughterhouse, okay? And so it says, my only consolation is that by eating us, they're killing themselves, which is absolutely true, okay? And so, not just for your health, but also the cruelty they inflict on the animals, it's just simply amazing. I mean, it's a criminal act. I can't believe the government's allowed this to happen. But, you should consider, whole food plant-based nutrition. to achieve the optimal health. You can do it. You can prevent and reverse almost just about all the chronic disease. Okay. Sorry, this doesn't show up. And then also, be kind to the animals, right? And, if you believe in karma, it becomes true. And then also, sustainable planet. We talk about climate change, whether you believe it or not. We do have to be responsible, and the producing animal products causes more greenhouse effect than all means of transportation combined, not just automobile, the airplanes. And so if you care about your planet, and if you want to leave a decent earth to your children and grandchildren, think about whole food plant-based. Okay? So again, heart attack, to me, in my mind, is a choice. If you have it, you choose to have it. And I'm sorry if you don't have the knowledge. That's why you have to gain the knowledge. Bobby didn't know it, but because of his lifestyle, he chose to have heart attack. And now he saw the light, and then now he's changed his way, and he's been able to reverse the heart disease. Okay? But heart attack is a choice. After today, all of you, if you have heart attack, it's your decision. It's your choice, because now you have no excuse. Okay? So, and diabetes, same thing. It's a choice. Okay? Especially type 2. Diabetes 1, they have a strong association with, when you're, an infant and baby eating, cow milk, there's a strong association with that. But type 2 diabetes, it's your choice. You did it. Okay? But you can reverse it. And most of the chronic disease is a choice also. Okay? So ask yourself, what's your choice? Okay? So this is, if you have any questions also beyond tonight, feel free to get in touch with me. I'm very involved in social media also. If you ask me questions, I respond just about to everyone unless somehow I miss it. I respond, myself. Nobody else responds, on my behalf. So whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, if you have questions, feel free to get in touch with me. So, and thank you for attending, and thanks for taking the first step to take control of your health. Okay? So if you guys have any other questions, thank you.